Monkey the Dragon. It turns out he actually fought St. Figarland Garling at God Valley. So the spoilers for the upcoming chapter 1160 are already out, and the title of this upcoming chapter is The God Valley Incident. Just from the title alone, we can immediately get the idea that what we'll witness in this chapter is packed with information about what happened during the God Valley incident 38 years ago. And we weren't wrong, because the very first piece of information in the spoilers says that it was revealed that the lineage of the Davey family are actually Buccaneers. Aside from that, it's also said that the wife of Sebek, or in other words Blackbeard's own mother, will be revealed. Because of this information, it confirms that we now have 4 known members of the Buccaneer Tribe, and 2 of them are still alive to this day. Because of this, it seems that this will be the explanation for why Marco mentioned during the Marineford War that there was something strange about Blackbeard's body. If you recall, Blackbeard is the only one in the One Piece series who was able to eat 2 devil fruits, and when Marco noticed this, he mentioned something about Blackbeard having a strange body. During the Egghead Island arc, when Blackbeard's fellow Buccaneer, Kuma, regained his senses, which shouldn't have been possible since Vegapunk had already removed his very sense of individuality. Vegapunk suddenly quoted something about Kuma also having a strange body. I think this scene with Kuma is related to Blackbeard, related to the strange bodies possessed by Buccaneers. Anyway, regarding the part about Blackbeard's mother being revealed, and that her appearance is supposedly a bit messy, of course we assume that if she's also a pure-blooded Buccaneer, then her appearance wouldn't be too far from Blackbeard and Kuma, who both also have curly hair. Since Rox D. Sebek didn't seem to have curly hair, the next piece of information says that the chapter continues the scene where Dragon encounters Shanks' mother. The scenario is the same, she's asking Dragon for help to save her children. Hopefully, we'll also get to see what Shanks' mother actually looks like, just so we have an idea of her possible appearance. The next information says that the hunting tournament at God Valley has already begun, with the celestial dragon starting to kill civilians. Dragon, on the other hand, is shown shooting a celestial dragon in order to save Kuma. Yes guys, the fate of these 2 was already destined. It's nice to see that Oda is now giving more justification to Dragon's character, showing that he really stands for what is right. In other words, just because his rank was lower, didn't mean he would simply follow the orders of those above him, even when he knew those orders were wrong. That's why I salute Dragon for his conviction. At that moment he realized that the true villains of God Valley were the celestial dragons, while the real victims were the civilians. If only politicians of the world could think this way too. Anyway, additional information in the spoilers says that we'll see some redraws from chapter 1096, showing the scene of the Rocks Pirates, Roger Pirates, and the arrival of the Marines at God Valley. Perhaps what's being referred to here as redraws are the panels depicting the arrival of these 3 groups. Even if it feels redundant, I still expect some meaningful conversations in this part, or at the very least, a proper panel showing the full Rocks Pirates crew, because as we know, back in chapter 1096, Oda still kept Sebek's appearance hidden in that chapter. The next piece of information says that some of the Holy Knights present at God Valley will finally be introduced one by one. One of them apparently looks like a Yeti with horns. This is actually the spoiler I'm most excited about, because back in chapter 1096, we saw that there were 12 Holy Knights present based on their silhouettes. In that chapter, 6 were revealed. Then, in the latest chapter, 2 more were introduced, Saint Somers and Gunko, meaning overall we've now seen 8 of the Holy Knights. The remaining 4 are still a mystery to us, but of course, take this with a grain of salt, since we all know that Oda often changes the numbers once he officially reveals things. Just like how the 6 treasure chests later turned out to actually be 7. Now the final piece of information in the spoilers says that by the end of this chapter, we'll see Dragon saving Shanks and Shamrock. Though this information feels a bit redundant, since it's already obvious Dragon would try to save them after his conversation with Shanks' mother, the curious part here is whether Dragon and Garling actually faced each other. Because, as we all know, in the end, only Shanks was saved from the celestial dragon's hands, and he eventually grew up under the care of the Roger Pirates. Shamrock, on the other hand, was not saved, and is currently one of the Holy Knights. This means that at some point, Garling may have reclaimed one of his children. So the real question now is, how exactly did Dragon manage to save Shanks? After all, we saw in the last chapter how naive he was, with no real signs yet of being capable in battle, unlike Garling, who looks like he could wipe out an army of 100 by himself. So could it be that in this very moment of their confrontation, Dragon actually ate his future devil fruit? Could this be the reason he was able to hold his ground against Garling and successfully save Shanks? Another curious idea here is the reason behind Dragon being labeled the most wanted criminal in the world. Could it be that this epithet was given to him by the world government because they accused him of kidnapping the child of a holy knight, specifically Shanks? Anyway, that's our short spoiler review for the upcoming chapter 1160. But before we end this video, I have just one question for you all. Do you think Dragon saving Shanks is the reason he gained the title of the most wanted criminal in the world? Or do you believe there's another reason behind that epithet? If you have any thoughts or ideas, don't hesitate to drop them down in the comment section below so we can discuss them. And just a quick reminder, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That's all for now. Peace out.